everyone. Welcome to our session, Better Together, How Oracle Cloud Infrastructure OCI Powers the Oracle Fusion App Suite of Services. In this session, we will lay out for you the various benefits of running Fusion on OCI. My name is Usha Thothathri, and I am joined here by my colleague, Leung.
Thanks, Usha. I'm Leung. I'm a VP for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and Oracle Technologies. Thanks for joining us today.
OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, offers a comprehensive portfolio of cloud services to support running all of your IT in the cloud. On OCI, you can run Oracle's complete suite of these SaaS applications. That's an obvious one. Any on-prem applications that you might migrate to the cloud, new apps that you build using cloud-native technologies, or essentially pick from various apps that are ISV partners run on OCI. And all of these technologies are part of the same cloud, available in cloud regions around the world, or in flexible hybrid configuration options wherever you need them. And in the session, we want to delve into each of these layers and tell you how some customers are leveraging the complete cloud stack. And we will do this by sharing their stories.
Great, thanks, Usha. So digging a little bit deeper into the bottom layer of the stack, in terms of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and some of the unique things we've done, we had an opportunity to build a completely new cloud, and we took some lessons from what was happening in the market and what other cloud providers have done. And we've done some unique things to make sure that we're basically able to provide an environment that's equivalent or better than a dedicated on-prem infrastructure, which means that you get more guarantees of performance, reliability, that again, you would expect on-prem when you're actually dedicating infrastructure to your applications. And some of the workloads that enables is not only your kind of classic high scale, very demanding applications, but also your existing applications, even ones that have older architectures that rely on low latency database connections. Many enterprise applications fit in this portfolio, but even your cloud native types of applications that use containers, Kubernetes, also benefit from this very, very high performance and innovative architecture.
So here's our first customer story for the session, and this is FedEx. We all know the name. FedEx took a very strategic approach to its cloud transformation. And in order to pace its what they call the Change the Business Initiatives program at the sort of the highest level within the organization, as a first step, they moved their on-prem Oracle EBS, just as Leo was describing earlier. They moved Oracle EBS is also an Oracle suite, but it's an on-prem application. And they had several supporting customs to EBS, and they moved this entire footprint to OCI. Now, these systems manage around 75% of their accounts receivable, generated over 500 terabytes of data, and fed daily collections analytics across the 6 global regions. So moving their EBS footprint to OCI was a very key first step in their cloud journey. And they saw some immediate benefits. So OCI delivered cost savings from running the database heavy workloads in the cloud rather than in FedEx data centers. Performance and reliability improved vastly because FedEx was better able to optimize their compute and database resources for daily workloads, and especially for peak seasons around holidays and other times when FedEx is obviously in greater demand. They also gained superior disaster recovery and business continuity as part of their global expansion. They were on the cloud. There was better redundancy that was built in to their cloud footprint rather than their own data centers. And FedEx then slowly started to deploy, and they are currently in the process of a massive transformation where they're uptaking parts of the Oracle SaaS suite. So they're implementing Oracle Cloud ERP, EPM, SCM, and analytics on OCI towards their ultimate vision of being a completely unified platform for both organic and acquired growth. So when you have a very complex landscape of many interconnected systems from different vendors, homegrown, as well as from different vendors, it is impossible to move everything all in one shot. And instead, you need a strategy that is phased in what we call a coexistence model. And FedEx has been quite successful with that model.
Awesome. Yeah, and you're going to hear that theme kind of over and over again, the ability to move at the pace of your business, whether it's infrastructure or software as a service or both. So digging a little bit more again into the infrastructure, certainly security is continues to be a top concern for a lot of customers. And we follow essentially a strategy of not only providing defense in depth through a layered architecture, which is something you probably expect, although we do specific things even at the very, very core of the infrastructure in terms of custom security chips, making sure that the resources that you're getting and that Fusion is getting are clean every single time. But then building up on top of that, we really try to take more of the security and automate it as much as possible and help make some of the decisions on your behalf to help you scale. Because some of the security threats out there are really, really high scale and they keep changing all the time. So being simple, being able to prescribe the solution for you, show you recommendations, and sometimes even act upon those recommendations on your behalf is something that we do. We also really look at integrating the security products. Instead of throwing dozens and dozens of products at you, we try to keep it simple. We make sure that the security is integrated from the bottom all the way up through the application layer. And then ultimately, we try to provide a lot of these security capabilities just as part of the service. So you don't need to think about paying additional amounts for the security that you need for your enterprise, taking that trade-off off the table and making sure you actually secure more environments instead of less. So one of the key things that we're announcing at this CloudWorld is something we call the CloudGuard Fusion Applications Detector. So this is actually taking a capability that existed in the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure layer and actually surfacing that capability up through the application layer, starting with our HCM and ERP products. And what CloudGuard does is it's automatically scanning the environment to identify potential threats, potential misconfigurations, etc., and then offering you that recommendation to go and remediate that security challenge. For example, if the system notices that there's suddenly a huge amount of new users that have been given very large permissions, very high permissions into the system, it will notify you again because that could be a potential security threat. So really happy to be announcing more and more capabilities from the infrastructure all the way up through the stack.
Thank you, Leo. That is a very exciting, new announcement. This is a key slide that you will see again and again throughout the remainder of the session, since it really speaks to the layers within that complete cloud stack, and it's very critical that you understand how well integrated this is. The top layer is, talks through the Fusion App Suite, Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP, which is our Fusion SaaS for all of the finance functions, SCM, Supply Chain Management, HCM, Human Capital Management, and then really a plethora of CX offerings as part of our CX suite. But also, very importantly, various industry applications such as the financial services, telco, healthcare modules that are all interconnected and speak to the Fusion services layer and sit on top of OCI. So there's just a tremendous level of integration and interconnectedness here that Leo will speak to in more detail. But wanted to make sure that the audience here understands this is the key schematic that we will return to again and again to kind of highlight various aspects of the complete cloud stack. Leo, you want to? Oh, actually, I was going to talk about the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure for Fusion Cloud and kind of highlight the specific benefits of what we're of what we leverage as part of the OCI stack. So proven scalability. We run 91 billion cloud transactions daily across 97 million weekly cloud users across our fleet. So phenomenal scalability and volume there. Enterprise grade security, Leo just alluded to that. We've got 20 plus compliance attestations and national security region accreditation for Fusion apps. OCI also has the fastest growing network of global data centers. We have 40 cloud regions worldwide to allow for data residency and sovereignty requirements around the globe based on the different statutory requirements. AI, ML, IoT, blockchain, advanced technology, digital assistance, all built into the application's user interfaces and workflows that allows for a very seamless user experience. So key takeaway, the platform is agile and extensible and offers more than 100 core infrastructure services that you can leverage from within OCI. Financial services is becoming an increasing sweet spot for the Fusion services suite. We have had added some very marquee names to our fleet. Several global banks and financial services run on Fusion, primarily in the ERP, enterprise resource planning for the finance functions, as well as human capital management. The HCM flow simplifies and personalizes and digitizes the entire employee experience end to end, all the way from the recruitment process all the way to termination and retirement process, if you will, from the system. And Fusion HCM deployments in OCI have provided significant performance gains across the recruiting process in various HCM functions compared to with a Gen 1 architecture. And we're able to see this very clearly as we've moved from Gen 1 into OCI. Similarly, in Oracle Fusion Cloud ERP deployments that automate end-to-end flows from source to settle, order revenue, and record to report, that encompasses really all the way from the source subledgers through GL. Again, impressive performance gains, for the very large batch processes that we run, especially within the GL modules and so on. Very impressive performance gains as we've moved our workloads to OCI. So across the board, the Fusion App Suite leverages all of those OCI services, and Leo will go into some more detail over the remaining slides. Another very cool new feature for OCI that will soon be available to our Fusion Cloud administrators is really a self-service access to a broad set of application lifestyle management features, subscription management, environment provisioning, lifecycle administration, monitoring, application maintenance. This new service management console is going to be very key because it provides a single pane of glass, visibility across all of the Oracle services, ranging from PaaS to Fusion apps and other services. So as an example, Fusion Cloud administrators can now use self-service provisioning of new test, dev, and production environments in just minutes through a self-service UI, where in the past, they would need to log an SR and potentially wait for days in order for a central provisioning team to go in and manually assign these new test pods. So this can all now be done through the self-service UI. So we're very excited about this one console, single pane of glass experience that will be released to our customers soon. Leo, why don't you take us through how well we are integrated and how easy it is for our customers to integrate their own apps across the OCI infrastructure?
Yeah, absolutely, Usha. So, so Usha went through some of the integration of our own stack from our infrastructure to our own applications. But many, if not all of those capabilities are also available for you to provide to your, again, third-party applications or your own custom brand new applications. And really the idea, again, I'll emphasize, is that this is a platform for your whole business, whether it's our applications or other applications that you have. Right. So um, let's see, next slide. So I'll talk about some of those capabilities in that stack that can help improve your overall workflows, modernize or add new capabilities to your existing applications. And then later we'll talk about some of the capabilities to build new applications. One of the key services that we've implemented with thousands of customers is Oracle integration. And fundamentally, this is a set of, it's a service that provides many, many connectors, right? So it allows you to connect older applications to newer applications, on-prem to SaaS, or vice versa, as well as newer services and endpoints like APIs. And the goal of all that is to really streamline your workflows and your business processes, right? So we've talked about some of those customers already, but we know that the environments are complex. We know that the technology landscape is very complex. So having integration capabilities that are able to tie these systems together really, really helps streamline ultimately those workflows and business processes. So we continue to advance this technology. So there are more and more pre-built connectors that simplify the experience to connect your most common applications. For example, ours and products like Salesforce and Workday, et cetera. There's also more and more intelligence in the platform to help you build new integrations and new recipes to help you, again, get to market as quickly as possible so you can streamline those business processes and get onto your business. Another technology is something called Oracle Digital Assistant. And this is a great capability to enable you to improve your customer experience through native interfaces that provide, for example, chatbots or voice-enabled interfaces. Very common use cases here are both internal and external for customer support, where you may have had a person or something static supporting those users. Now you have something you can very, very quickly deploy something much more intelligent to be open 24/7 and support those customers as they're either trying to do something internal to your enterprise or trying to engage with you as an external customer. There's also the ability to customize these digital assistants using simple low-code tools, so you don't require professional development expertise. Usha?
These chatbots are actually very cool, Leo. We've implemented several of them for Oracle on Oracle, right? We use them within our expenses module and our procurement module, and it's been very popular with our users. So that's a very interesting feature. Moving on, another customer story that we wanted to share is that of Western Digital. They're in the hard disk manufacturing and their data storage space, and in their case, major acquisitions have led to some very disparate analytic processes and slow internal workflows. So one of their main pain points was the need for a self-service financial reporting mechanism, and this involved essentially a very complex mix of Fusion ERP, HCM, and CX applications, along with several customs and third-party applications, very complex landscape. And their daily financial analytics were slowing internal workflows because the data was often 24 to 48 hours old, and it took 8+ hours to refresh. And the way that Western Digital solved for this was through the OCI integration and conversational AI services, and specifically the OCI integration services helped them connect over 2,000 custom extensions, Oracle SaaS and the ISV applications that they had deployed. Visual designers enabled workflow automation without the need for, as Leo said, a huge level of technical skills. This is very low code need, and it's done very effectively with not very highly, that without the need for very highly technically skilled labor. And Western Digital was able to cut their global financial reporting time to 20 minutes and deliver a single source of truth to essentially enable and accelerate the decision making for their continued growth and expansion. So we're very, very thrilled that Western Digital has turned this around into a really strong success story.
Yeah, and again, I hope you're starting to see the better together aspects of this. Again, we know that sometimes these environments can be very complex, and you can't just deploy a thing to get the results you're looking for. So integration is important. Usha talked a little bit about analytics. So if you're not aware, Oracle does have a analytics platform that enables, again, that visualization, of course, of data, different data sources, not just our own. You can tie them together with our integration products. You can put them into a combined data lake, et cetera, and be able to, again, visualize it using this tool. And not only that, not only is there the ability to create these dashboards, provide self-service access to analytics to your users to again get more visibility across your company, but we can also embed these dashboards, embed analytics into other applications, into the browser interface to again share not with only with your end users, but also potentially your supply chain, or even in some cases to your customers. We can also extend a very extensible platform, again, to provide more access to data so you can get those insights out to your entire value chain.
Yes, and on to another interesting story, a customer story. So founded in 2007, Dropbox is another very well-known brand, very well-known name, and they develop smart content and collaboration products that are used by over 600 million people across 180 countries around the world. And interestingly, Dropbox was an early adopter of Oracle Cloud ERP and Oracle Cloud EPM as early as 2017, and they've continuously added new modules from within the Fusion SaaS. They added cloud risk management in 2019, and more recently, the analytics cloud, the integration cloud, and the autonomous data warehouse, all of which has really helped to turbocharge their financial processes. So using Oracle Cloud ERP, Dropbox has cut its financial period close in half, and its accounting receivable period close from 4 days to just 1 day. And the Oracle Cloud Risk Management module helps the company automate user access controls, ensure segregation of duties, and just overall compliance worldwide for all of their business units. So they are spread out quite a bit globally, and risk management is a very key concern for them. So RMC has really given them that ability to do. And OCI actually gives Dropbox sort of direct integration paths within its ERP system and lets users access development tools as a bundle with the Oracle Integration Cloud. And using these pre-built adapters that Leo has talked about and the low-code automation from OCI, Dropbox has been able to cut the cost of their financial records processing and reduce the volume of transactions, and hugely accelerating their time to market. So another very, very strong success story. And I know, Leo, when you and I were talking earlier, this was a particularly interesting story for you because of sort of the integration capability that Dropbox has leveraged. Did you want to add any other thoughts to this particular story?
The only thing I would add is, again, I think you hit the nail on the head. It doesn't actually matter if you're a long-time enterprise or if you're starting out as a startup, smaller company, and trying to grow into a large-scale company. We're able to kind of meet you where you are and help you accelerate that business behind the scenes. So another great example.
Which segues nicely or back to the diagram, which is our homepage, it almost feels like. And Leo, if you can talk to us about how OCI allows for very easy extensibility. And we've touched on it through all these different stories that we've talked about, but let's focus on just the extensibility framework within OCI that allows customers, to really, extend, new apps using cloud native technologies for business requirements that they may not already have satisfied through our own, Fusion SaaS stack. And there's many of those, and based on different verticals and different companies, there are always unique requirements that need additional extensibility. So if you could walk us through that, I think that would be
Yeah,
great.
that's right. So we've talked about Fusion, we've talked about package applications from third parties. Next area is newer applications. So again, if you consider the platform, all these services are available. The connection to Fusion and those third-party apps is available through our integration services. Um, but not only that, a whole suite of additional capabilities to either through low-code methodologies, extend those existing applications. We talked about new UIs, new visualization capabilities, or build brand new applications. So if you have a large, or if you have a development staff that is actually building new services, new applications, they will find that all the tools that they would expect are there, including really good integration to the ecosystem. So if you have your own tools, your own CI/CD, your own pipeline tools, etc., totally fine. We can plug into those and enable you to easily use those tools to deploy into Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So broad suite of things. I'll talk actually especially about our AI services. So big area for us, big area of investment to be able to add intelligence to those new applications as well very easily. Again, without necessarily having data science skills or machine learning skills. Our AI services come out of the box, prepackaged and trained to be able to apply things like natural language processing or computer vision, with the ability to also customize those models and train them for your particular market. A little bit more about the development tools. We've had container and Kubernetes services for a while. We're actually introducing at CloudWorld new services there, so completely serverless Kubernetes to be able to take away any of the need to provision the infrastructure, make decisions there. It'll just automatically scale based on your needs. A rich set of API services. So whether you're building applications or just building endpoints for your value chain, we can support that. We're announcing new capabilities there as well in CloudWorld, such as our new queuing service to add to your application stack. I talked a little bit about the AI services, but that's a increasingly powerful part of our portfolio. We're going to keep adding intelligence to that based on training, as well as new services there. We have some new improvements to our speech service, for example, to announce at CloudWorld. And then a full tool set when it comes to CI/CD, as well as automation of the deployment and your application lifecycle. So the thing I'll note there is that from day one, we've actually implemented Terraform as our automation engine. So it's a native service within OCI. So those Terraform users, very, very easy to take advantage of our platform. We also support technologies like Ansible. In terms of extensibility, so we don't just think about our own cloud, but also the broader landscape out there. So we've actually very, very proactively and aggressively built out our multi-cloud strategy. So again, if you have environments or you're using other clouds, we work very, very well with those other clouds. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. We talked about our public cloud already, but a little bit more on our hybrid cloud and dedicated cloud offerings. We know that, again, you have a lot of technology. Most of you have a lot of technology that is still on-prem or will probably stay on-prem for the future because of various performance requirements or regulatory requirements. So that's really critical. And we are, again, proactively supporting you there. little bit more about that. One of the things we do uniquely is we have something called the OCI dedicated region, which actually allows us to deploy the entire OCI stack into a location of your choosing. So a number of customers have done that, again, to have more control over the environment, put the OCI services and the Fusion application services where they need them specifically, um, and have access to all the services we've talked about, all 100+ services, to be able to build their own and run their own applications. I talked about multi-cloud. We started actually in 2019 with Microsoft to be able to interconnect our regions. We have 12 interconnected regions now around the world. And that again enables you to not only use our portfolio of services, but also interconnect them with Azure services. So you really get the best of both worlds there. We recently announced something called the Database Service for Azure, which enables Azure customers to very simply get access to database services, again, as if they were just a single cloud, with high performance and with all the capabilities that we provide out of our infrastructure. And we continue to expand the multi-cloud portfolio. We recently announced a new service for AWS, where AWS customers now have access to our MySQL HeatWave technology. So lots of capabilities around our services, whether it's in our cloud, in other clouds, or if you want the services in a location of your choosing. A great example of using some of these services is Integra Life Sciences, a medical device manufacturing company. So they were able to move their ERP, in this case, eBusiness Suite, into OCI, as well as a bunch of adjacent applications, everything in their back office to be able to run their business. But they also had an existing relationship with Microsoft Azure for analytics. So they were able to connect our clouds together, continue to use analytics on Microsoft Azure, but still be able to access the data with very high performance running on OCI. This prevented the need to be moving and shipping terabytes of data back and forth, through batch processes or whatever, and actually improve the performance and the results, which is the ultimate goal, right? Much faster access to the data they needed to run their business. In addition, by having all this stuff in the cloud instead of on-prem, much more agility, much more capability to be able to deploy new workload environments, for example, for dev test or new capabilities in just minutes instead of taking multiple weeks for hardware, etc. Okay, so another example of how we're able to provide that platform for your business. So kind of pulling it all together, we've talked about a bunch of stuff here, but ultimately it's the ability to be able to meet you where you are. So if you have an application that's already working really well on-prem or in a hosted environment, and you want to just move that, you can get advantages from Oracle Cloud Infrastructure really, really quickly in terms of performance, in terms of agility and scalability. In parallel, you can start to implement Fusion Cloud, right? So sometimes that does take time because you need to re-architect some of your business processes, re-implement some of your business flows, but you can get the advantage, for example, out of your ERP right up front with things like the support we provide for migration assistance, something we call support rewards that actually gives you credits based on the amount of cloud consumption you have, so you can lower your support bills. Implement that SaaS side of the house, and when you're ready to actually go live with your SaaS, you can then scale down your infrastructure for those older applications and seamlessly move into the future. So one example of how we can help you in a coexistence type of model. Usha?
Yes, thank you, Leo. So some closing thoughts and we hope you found this to be informative in terms of all the various concepts that we laid out. But I did want to summarize with some closing thoughts on why running Fusion apps on OCI has been such a huge win for our customers. So As we've talked about, OCI enables a common security model and governance and high performance across all workloads, integrates applications, automates end-to-end processes, and allows customers to extend the Oracle Fusion Cloud functionality, very key, provides for better visualization across the organization via self-service analytics. Finally, it's just quite simply, it's easier to manage and connect your entire application ecosystem via our hybrid and multi-cloud interoperability, which we're very, very excited about. And, Leo talked about it earlier. So, Leo, any closing thoughts from you?
No, just, I think if you want to take a look at the overall Oracle Cloud, not just in the application side, but also the infrastructure side, I think you're going to find that there's much more there in terms of your overall needs. From instead of thinking about them as individual products, think about it as a platform. So.
Yep. So if you're watching this, after the conference, we hope you had a great one. We hope you enjoyed the sessions. But if you are watching this before the conference, then I hope you come see us in our live session on Thursday. And what was okay, well, I don't know that we have the actual location information yet, but you can check your agenda because Leo and I will be presenting this on the last day of the conference. So come see us, and we hope you have a great conference, Oracle CloudWorld.
Thank you so much.